from IIM Calcutta, IIM Ahmedabad, MDI, Gurgaon, all of them, the job situation is extremely bleak. Please come and help us. I used to go to IIM Calcutta regularly, every year, for giving placement talks and recruiting. During 80s and maybe very early 90s. Thereafter we found boys and girls from IIMs no more interested. So we decided to do with so-called second tier management schools, business schools. And we adopted a policy of advertising in newspapers and have that process. So last year when the business schools, I mean absolute top-notch business schools, including my alma mater, they rang me up. I unfortunately could not mobilize them at all because I said, look, our advertisement are already out, we have received applications, the process is on. So today if I go to campus, then and take people, then what do I do with my entire process? I cannot just, discard the process in the middle way, that's not fair. So next year, which is the coming year, we will definitely go to the campus. The only problem is that, as Jayanto said, that there is a belief amongst today's, it was there in our time, it has only increased many folds amongst today's youngsters, that unless you keep job hopping, you cannot go up fast. And that is even more amongst the business school graduates, particularly from the so-called premier institutions. So while this year we have taken a policy decision that we will go to IIMs, MDI, etc., but we are not very sure that how much we will be able to retain them. And today, as I also admitted, that the difference in salary between public sector and private sector has become far larger. Having said that, one thing I will mention, some of my colleagues, time to time, they say that public sector salary is so small, our counterparts get so much more than us, etc. Don't think I am preaching or anything, but I have always told them that look, why do you compare yourself with that 0.5% or less of the citizenship of your motherland? You are better off than 99% of the population. Number two, even with our salary, I would very strongly say that we haven't had any difficulty in meeting both ends, in rearing up our children. Okay, maybe we can't go abroad with our family every year and things like that. But other than that, I think in Indian context, there is no difficulty in living a good life with public sector salary. And another thing, just because of course this topic has come up now, another thing I always felt that in public sector, no one is your, within inverted comma, boss. Everyone is only a superior officer. Today I happen to be the chairman or managing director, but even when I was a mid-level executive, I knew that I am an employee and the chairman and managing director is nothing but another employee. So I have full liberty of expressing my views, and as long as they were expressed in decent way, I was absolutely sure that that will have no adverse repercussion. In private sector, and more so in India, in India, large number of private sector companies are family-owned. I will not like to name, but I am told, even by my ex-colleagues, that in certain organizations, absolutely largest in the country and things like that, there, the family, their behavior is far from being desirable with the professionals many a times. There will be exceptions. If you look at, let's talk of Tatas, it's a total exception. Tatas, in many ways, people say that they are, just like a public sector in their processes and in many things. If you look at, let's say, L&T, that's again almost you can say semi-public sector, in the sense financial institutions own the largest chunk, and even the employees, they own quite, I think, 15% or something of the total stake. So these are exceptions rather than rules. In India, in private sector, I personally feel, of course, I don't have a direct experience. I have never worked in any organization other than SCI. But I do feel that in private sector you can be in difficulty in many ways, which are absolutely unenvisageable in public sector. Right from peon onwards, which of course we in SCI take a lot of pride in saying that we completely follow an open door policy. And as long as I am not busy in other meetings, I do travel quite a lot, maybe almost 10-15 days in a month, but as long as I am not traveling, I am not busy in another meeting, any employee of SCI can simply drop in and see. I rather welcome that. So this kind of culture are prevalent, I am sure, in very, very few private sector companies. I'm sure, in Reliance, very few of up to at least middle-level professionals, they get to meet Mukesh or Anil. So public sector has its pluses, public sector has its minuses. And as they always say, there is nothing in the world which is white or black, everything is grey. It's only a matter of, grade and intensity. So I have enjoyed it. This much I can say, I have enjoyed working for public sector. During my entire career, I have got, I don't know how many offers from private sector, both Indian and foreign. And at any point of time when such offers came, in terms of pure emoluments, they were not less than 3 times, sometimes more than 10 times of my then prevailing salary. But it is not only I who decided not to share, because I always felt SCI has always been good to me, my bosses have been good to me, I have never had any problem. But my entire family, they were totally against my even considering leaving SCI. SCI has one good thing, which is not there in too many private sectors. It is there, but it is very, very few. That some of our, let's say, medical covers, they cover not only yourself, but your entire family. So much so that, of course, my parents are no more. But my parents, when they had heart attacks, they got hospitalized and they underwent treatment for quite a number of days. I have never known what has been the experience. I have never had any clue, because nothing ever came to me. And in SCI, of course, this is again, I would say, it depends on personalities. In SCI in Calcutta, where I worked for more than 20 years, we had so in those days that position used to be called regional director, SCI Calcutta. Whenever anyone fell sick, not only an employee but his wife or something, a very dear relation, he used to draw rosters as to how the colleagues should go and spend the 24 hours with him so that the family is not burdened. So this kind of thing is not prevalent in, I'm sure in most of the private sectors. So everything has got its pluses and minuses. But what you are saying is correct. I have been saying this again and again to the policymakers, that if you look at public sector today, you will find many of them being headed by persons from IITs and IIMs. So obviously at one time, till about maybe 70s, early 80s, public sector attracted very good talents. But unfortunately, with the sort of explosion in salaries in the private sector, that is not happening. And I have always maintained And that is the biggest challenge for public sector. Because today, any industry in the world is so-called knowledge industry. So basically, without good personnel, no organization can ever progress. So obviously, that is a very big challenge for public sector. And if I may say so, such economic downturn actually helps public sector to some extent in once again reminding people of stability. Because after all, everything in life has got its own value. Please.
Sir, have you ever experienced political interference in your career while working in this public sector unit?
When I was a young lad, when I joined public sector and worked for some time, I was told, of course, the designations have completely changed. Today we have adopted somewhat American system, that is, we are having now DGM, GM, Vice President, Senior Vice President, Executive Director, and then Board Level Director and Chairman. In earlier days, it was GM and GGM, that is, below board it was called GGM and below that is GM. So I was told when I was a young lad by many that you can at best aspire to become GM or GGM in the organization unless you have, again, so-called political pushes and pulls, etc. You cannot go up beyond that. Now, all that I can say, I never had any political pushes. I have become director in SCI, I have become chairman in SCI without any push or pull, and purely through the so-called public enterprise selection board interviews. I have appeared for the interviews along with my colleagues and again many other persons from other public sector organizations. And somehow, with the grace of the God, got selected and became whatever I became. Now, if you are asking if there are any governmental interferences, of course there are.